Governor Pastor Umo Eno violated the national constitution by stopping the press from doing his job by saying, go out, because they reported the story. And I told you he's been playing two games. As at September last year, when they were calling him out that your relationship with Mr. Akpabio is too close for comfort, he said, no, it will not affect the workers of the PDP. Not knowing that, he had plans to be able to do this, the defects. So he should do it with his full chest. What he thought it was going to be Chatham House rule. No. It's good that we are seeing them for what they are. Governor Happy Hour, yes, we appreciate your good work in the States. We know you have done some very good work.
Yeah,
but
amazing work, actually.
On this, we totally disagree with you. And please, we will urge you to restore those media journalists, to ensure that they get back to their work and they continue with their reporting. And on top of it, for good measure, offer an apology. I think that's the sense of decency that we expect. Offer an apology to them. Or deny it and say you had no hand in it for barring them. You can't stop the media. This same media that propagate all your good works. You need the media.
This is it.
You must not be able to stop us. But all these politicians, they're all playing games.
Same thing.
As usual. Governor, you have done well. You have done a good job at some point. But on this political score, I totally disagree with you. And it's nothing personal. Just like we celebrated you, when you did well. And I still commiserate to you on the loss of your wife. Real quickly, let me move to Mr. Wike. Mr. Wike he has the temerity to say somebody betrayed him. Mr. Wike, has the nerve, an unmitigated temerity to say somebody betrayed him. What did he do to Atiku Abubakar? What did he say after the PDP primaries? Anybody that will support them, because he didn't go his way, he set up Jackson 5. You can see now they're fighting. Jackson 5, like Boala calls them. Sheyi Makinde, that was part of the Jackson 5 now. I'm sure probably Governor Sheyi said, what the heck? You can't continue this way.
Yes.
He said for peacetime, they should go and withdraw the state of emergency. So you didn't like the PDP governors taking you to court over state of emergency, but you used it. You can see how these people behave in the interest of peace.
Yes.
The Supreme Court made a decision. Go and fix your thing internally. You'll be able to push Iron there. He has said no. The PDP Southeast faction must not bring in the deal. So you see how they be for body, but you beat them. You beat people. So when they flog you with that same cane, they pay you. It reminds me of Mabel the Fist Sheller, that famous advert for area. He go stay my body. So now you don't want court case. You wanted to remove the PDP court against it of emergency, but you did it to Fubara and you call him your son. So if he wants to say they've betrayed him, he should go ahead. But the truth also is, what has he also done to his party?
All right.
He's doing this to his party. I'm not going to agree. Has it not been a betrayal to his party? He's calling his party out in public. He's going against the presidential candidate, not allowing the presidential candidate even the chance to be able to campaign in the state of his party. It's not a betrayal to his party.
I mean, this is my question.
You see, those that can dish it, they don't know how to take it.
Yes, this is my issue. I mean, all of these anti-party activities going on with Nyesom Wike just really bothers me a lot, because I really don't understand how other people from big parties are moving to the APC, and he's working with the APC. But I wanted your thoughts, Vimbai, Dr. Abati, before I come to you, about Umo Eno, because our constituents. I want to just talk about this barring of journalists, your take on it. Before Dr. Abati.
At the national level or at the local level, these are delegates from Jigawa State disagreeing over who should speak on their behalf. Former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachilawa, had nominated someone else. See how they all trooped towards the podium. They said they didn't want that person until Mustafa Lamido was chosen to speak on behalf of the people. And then, of course, there was calm. But what I think also is instructive is that, look, the security agents that were there, police, DSS, private guards, they immediately took charge to make sure that calm was restored. So the planners had also factored security into all of this. But this is to say that even within this coalition, all this collection of persons who say we will deal with Tinubu, we will remove APC from power, they also have issues among themselves.
Yes, that's what it shows.
It's not as if it's a united front. And I made a point earlier that there are also divisions within this coalition, whether it's in the north or the south, as to what platform to use, as to whether a new political party should be formed, and other details as to the way to go forward. Mr. Peter Obi, yes, was one of the prominent leaders on that occasion, and he spoke about the north being an asset to the country. And his point is about having to address the challenge of poverty in the north. He's having met a lot of all these Amajiri children, who are very brilliant, who could be a greater asset to Nigeria if they were given the opportunity to go to school and to lead. It's not as if these persons are not talented. They are just as talented as other children. But what you have in the north is the failure of the leadership. Northern leaders have been discussing education in the north since 1959. And yet the population of children out of school continues to increase. And he talked about agriculture. And he was saying, look, given the arable land in the north, Nigeria can even do better than, those comparisons with Bangladesh and those other countries. I can't verify those facts. But his point is that, look, the north alone can feed Nigeria, and there are a lot of opportunities there. On that score, you, of course, cannot disagree with him. But in any case, as to whether you will leave the coalition or run on the platform of the Labour Party, well, it's entirely his decision.
Absolutely.
But it is instructive that, look, people are talking. People are talking. At the end of the day, whatever that coalition produces, it's not all the people who started that will be there. It will be on the basis of negotiations.
Yes.
And what, each person gets, what each person does not get. Dr. Sam Amadi was making the point about rentier politics in Nigerian democracy. People are always looking for what will benefit them.
Yes.
If their interests are not served, they will pull out. Finally, the same Mr. Peter Obi has been quoted as saying, after 2027, he will not run again.
Yes, he said that.
Because he's quoted as saying, well, there should be age limit for running for
Which we've
office.
always advocated.
After 2027 Mr. Peter Obi will still be a young man.
Yes.
How old is he now? He will be in his during
Newsnight, Nana Kozure said, please, she urged him on behalf of the obedience, please
he will still be a
continue to
young
run.
man. Joe Biden,
yes.
If it was not because of circumstances and public outcry, the man still wanted to be president at over 82.
Yes.
Donald Trump is almost 80.
Is he the oldest?
It's not about age, physical, biological. It's about the age of the ideas of the man who wants to lead.
Right.
We want people who will lead Nigeria. You can be 70, you can be 80. Once you still have the energy, you have the knowledge, and you believe in the common good, not in your pockets and the pockets of your wife and children, but in the common good of all Nigerians. Age should not really be an issue.
All right. Well, Rufai, in another development, former River State Governor and FCT Minister Nyesom Wike over the weekend announced his withdrawal from all agreements made with the People's Democratic Party. Wike made the announcement during an event in Port Harcourt, where he expressed his dissatisfaction with the current state of affairs in the PDP, claiming that certain party leaders have acted against the group's interests. He also criticized the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, labeling him as the architect of the problems within the party. I mean, we saw the story yesterday, Rufai, and for me, the first thing I thought about is, look at all these giants leaving their parties, joining the APC, and we're still seeing Wike struggling and making comments about the PDP. I mean, it just goes to show that there's some sort of disconnect somewhere, because I really don't understand how it is that he continues to do these anti-party activities within the PDP and is not even backing out of it. Meanwhile, Governor Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State has reportedly barred Channel's television crew from the Government House Press Center in Uyo following the broadcast of a video in which the governor confirmed plans to defect from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress, citing internal issues within the PDP. In the video, Umo Eno also asked his political appointees to join him or resign. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
Record he currently holds, and I guess Peter will be saying that's not really the record.
Yes.
I'm trying. Yes, we're African giant, but let's not hold the record constantly going for our presidential attempts.
Well said. Dr. Abati.
You didn't cite Robert Mugabe.
Oh, no, he wasn't. He was incumbent who was re-elected. I'm talking of opposition. Opposition leader.
Anyway,
Call him up.
Very old man.
Call him up.
Pastor Umo Eno.
Very quickly.
Yes.
I mean, I once managed a press corps of over 150 journalists, and it is not the duty of government, whether at the state level or at the federal level, to dictate to media houses who should be their correspondents in government house, particularly at the state level. And I think that in this particular regard, the management of Channels TV should stand by those two journalists that were expelled from the press center in the government house of Akwa Ibom State, and insist that those are the journalists that they want in that place.
Yes.
I know that there are press center, those we call press center journalists, those who hang around the press center just to collect handouts and collect communiqua, as they call them, But this is not the case. Christopher Moffat has been reported from that place for 10 years.
10 years, really?
So it deserves the support of the management of his company. Number two is that Mr. Pastor Umo Eno, in the statements that he made, well, I like the fact that he was very honest too. He was very honest in saying, this thing is about my second term. The way they are doing in Abuja now, if I don't if I don't go and join them, I will lose my Arise agenda, which I want to be committed to. But that I will also not allow anybody to take PDP from you in terms of the structures. Yeah. So it means that he just wants to join APC so that he can get a second term. If I even said INEC can come up with technicalities, if you are not one of them. So, he wants to be one of them so that he can just win election. The only thing he said that I thought was not okay is this point about people who do not follow me can leave my cabinet. Because that would be anti-party. Yeah. What he himself is doing is anti-party.
No, he's governor, so he cannot be. He has immunity.
It's not about immunity.
He was thinking this was never going to go out.
It's not that the law does not, sanction governors who defect. But in fact, I think Channels TV should promote those two people and commend them. Yes. Because if they did not report this thing, how will we know that even Pastor Umaino is a chameleon? A chameleonic character who has also adopted the same amphibious character as the same wiki that he was referring to.
I mean, come on. Well said, Dr. Abati.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Give Jesus a wiper.
Rufai, really. Well, come on.
That whosoever is the president of Nigeria is the president of everybody. You're not the president for the North, you're not the president for the South, you're not the president for Igbo or for Yoruba or for Hausa or for Fulani, you're the president of every Nigerian citizen. That's what North want to advance, and that's what we believe in. Unlike today, with Tinubu's administration, he has proven to be anti-North, anti-poor man. And look at the budget and go through the budget lines of the Ministry of Works, for example. You put up a project of 13 trillion naira in one place. What did you put in the entire North? Next to nothing. How do you run a country like that? And how do you want people to be happy? You see, the fact that someone live in suspicion, someone live in fear, it is enough to stop him from going to bed. Suspicion is enough. And look at the insecurity in the North today. The resurgence of insecurity. It is so bad. So the North is trying to bring up a coalition that can work for Nigeria. So when you think that you have decimated all other political parties and killed them, you think you are costing to victory. Nigerians are no longer the docile people that they used to be. So, as it happened in 2015, history will repeat itself.
Consultations, mobilization, conflict resolution are part of the decision reached at the end of the meeting.
An election.
Okay, 2 years for an election. Everybody wants it. 2027 is the price. Consultations happening. Yesterday, the newspaper led with a story, about Peter Obi, saying he was going to run in the Labour Party. And a lot of people started getting the feelers that, maybe he might not want to be part of the coalition. But this meeting held yesterday, and I think it has calmed some nerves. There are a lot of top hitters in the meeting, like you've seen. Abenchi is there. In fact, they talk about General Guzo also being in support of all of this rallying. There was a little skirmish in the meeting anyway by the Jigawa delegation as regards who is going to be the leader, but it was sorted out when the son of former Jigawa Governor Lamido, was finally put as one of the leaders of the Jigawa delegation. And initially they said the meeting was to discuss, what is happening in the North, insecurity and all of that, but it was way more than that. It was this first bold move in their country. I'm happy about it because, you see, I've always said I condemn a one-party state. We should never have any talk about a one-party state. But what I will also tell these people all coming together is, who is ready to sacrifice for the other? Because increasingly I'm seeing a lot of people that, yes, they say they have one interest, which is to unseat President Tinubu in 2027, but all of them want to be president. I don't know, maybe when they get to that part, then they'll be able to navigate it. Maybe I was too hasty when I took, the assumptions of the Disney newspaper on Sunday and say, I said this might not fall through. But I remember on my tweets, Mr. Umar Soni, your very good friend, did say, don't be too hasty, Rufai. And he was correct, because probably he knew more than me that this meeting was coming up. So we'll see how these consultations go. And we'll see where they arrive at. Like you all say, 24 hours is a long time in politics. But it's a very good first step. At least in the news reportage this week, it wasn't about one defection or the other. It was from the opposition coalition also saying something. So it's good for balancing. And please, I just want to say this in extension. I know this is not part of it. Dear Governor Eno, you cannot suppress the rights of journalists. Whatever decision was made in that state against those Channels TV journalists, and I'm really mentioning it because I'm standing up in camaraderie, that because a report was released by them and they're barred from the press center, we totally condemn. We're all patriots at this point in time for our fellow journalists as our colleagues. Real quickly, as regards Sheyi Makinde and Wike, These were the people that were together with what Daniel Bola would call them, the Jackson 5, the G5. These people came together to decimate the PDP and thwarted basically the chance of Atiku Abubakar because they didn't favor them. So Wike is now saying that all the agreements he put forward, Seyi Makinde is reneging against them. For instance, they should not bring forward Okoye again. It should be Anyanwu that should lead the way. He said Seyi Makinde went to the back to scuttle that. They also talked about taking away all the cases the PDP governors filed against state of emergency from courts and other agreements they did have. So today they are loggerheads. They are so at loggerheads that in fact, if you check the page of the newspaper today, Wike took a page stating his position on all of that. Let's see how it's going to pan out in their fights. But it's interesting to watch their fights. Because these were the same people that were doing G5 and they were singing Kumbaya, my lord, Kumbaya, and they were both all excited when they thwarted the chance of their own presidential candidates. Let's see how the Bukola Saraki-led team will be able to bring peace back to the PDP because the larger context is restoring peace to the PDP.
Okay, what is the main issue? Nyesom Wike, Minister Wike, saying that he has pulled out of all peace efforts within the PDP because there was a meeting at the guest house of Senator Bukola Saraki, who is the leader of the Way Forward Committee of the PDP. And at that meeting, certain agreements were reached. And the agreements were reached included the fact that the National Legal Advisor of the party will withdraw cases in court involving the River State matter, that Samuel Anyanwu, who is his own favored candidate, for position of National Secretary, will be recognized as the National Secretary, and that there will be no talk about any Deputy Secretary being recognized as the acting National Secretary of the party. But at that meeting, certain agreements were reached. And on the basis of that, there was some reconciliation. His argument is that, look, the leaders of the party have now gone back on that agreement in Senator Bukola Saraki's guest house. To it, that the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, the governor of Oyo State, colluding with the governor of Enugu State, Peter Mbah, have now decided to go behind and renege on those agreements. And that on the basis of that, he is standing on those agreements. He is standing on the ruling of the Supreme Court, even if the Supreme Court did not dictate who should be the National Secretary of the PDP. The Supreme Court simply said the party should go and put its own house in order. And the party is divided. On one hand, you have people who are saying that they are insisting on Samuel Anyanwu. On the other hand, you have the National Working Committee saying, look, it's the Deputy Secretary who is acting as National Secretary. You have the Southeast Caucus of the People's Democratic Party saying that the person they want there is Ude Okoye. Otherwise, it will amount to an act of affront. BOT Chairman Adolphus Wabara says so. Other leading members of that party, including Chief Achike Udemwa, whom we interviewed on this program, also insisted that the Southeast cannot be taken for granted. Now, so what is clear is that there is conflict within the People's Democratic Party. There is dissension within the People's Democratic Party. Nobody even knows who the National Secretary is at this particular moment. And that was why when Senator Gabriel Suswam came onto this program, he said the PDP is in an intensive care unit in a hospital. In other words, that the party is very sick. And he said, on the occasion that we interviewed him, that the May 27 NEC meeting of the party will make or mar the PDP. It looks like the PDP is already either compromised or is already sabotaged, and that the prediction of Senator Gabriel Suswam may come true. It may not die as a political party, as acting national chairman, Ambassador Damagum insists, but will he be able to make any impact in 2027? So you have a party, a political party, at a crossroads because of the failure of his own internal democracy. However, I think Wike's role in the matter is also something that should be underscored. Yes, Wike says he has been in the party since the very beginning and that he has invested so much. But he projects himself as if he's the be-all and the all-in-all of the party. The same party under which auspices he was made chairman of Obio-Akpo local government, under which auspices he became special assistant to the governor, became chief of staff to the governor, became commissioner, became minister of state education, served for 2 terms as governor. I think it's most unfortunate that he's the same man who says he wants to destroy the PDP because he says he will fight to the finish. But he's very clever. He's hiding under agreements. You know, the other time he said there was a southern projection agreement. This time around he says something was reached in Saraki's guest house. And Anyanwu, who is his lackey, has now issued a statement postponing tomorrow's scheduled meeting of the party. And he says he disagrees with a deputy secretary acting as acting national secretary. And then the other party, the National Working Committee, is insisting that they do not recognize the PDP. So look, PDP is out of the equation, the way it is looking. A divided party like that, I don't see how they are going to reorganize within 2 years to challenge the same APC that they say they want out of power. Lessons not learned, leadership not provided, a lot of display of incompetence in the People's Democratic Party. Quickly, to the issue of the northern leaders. Now they had a meeting, the National Political Consultative Group, North, which was attended by former minister, former governor, Rufai and Dr and attended by Waziri Adamawa Atiku Abubakar, attended by Mr. Peter Obi and other leaders of that coalition. Now, the impression is given that the North is monolithic. The North is not monolithic. People are saying northern leaders have resolved to remove Tinubu. Look, in that same North, there are leaders from the Northwest who say they are supporting Tinubu. There are leaders from the North Central who are saying they are supporting Tinubu. So it's not as if the North is monolithic. So when the newspapers, the media report that northern leaders forge united front, there is no such thing as a united front in the North. Indeed, at that meeting yesterday, there was a quarrel by the Jigawa delegation over who should speak on behalf of the Jigawa delegation. Babachi Ilawal had recommended someone else, but the delegation, refused. They turned the place into a chaotic environment. The security agencies, DSS, police, and private guards had to protect the VIPs in the place. Peace was only restored when it was agreed that Sule Lamido, the son of Alhaji Sule Lamido, should speak on behalf of the Jigawa delegation. So the North is not monolithic. And there's also the issue. There's also a tendency within that coalition that is arguing that the next candidate from the North, from the coalition, should come from the South. But that Southern candidate should sign a one-term agreement. So you see they're determined in saying they want to push APC and Tinubu out of power. Okay, now that Tinubu is not going to just sit down and allow them to push him out of power. And which Southern candidate is going to agree to do only one term? If you put a Southern candidate there, he too will say he will do one term. But in any case, they have not even agreed on the platform. There is the Lee Yelemoke-led committee that is talking about whether they should remain in PDP or not. There is the Rotimi Amechi committee that is recommending Alliance for Democracy and all of that. So, it's a very complex proposition and nobody should arrive at any, jerky, emotional conclusions. But it makes good headlines for the media to say northern leaders have united against APC. That's not the reality. It does make for exciting political commentary, doesn't it?
Well, it is without a doubt that yesterday's outing at the National Consultative Forum was a symbolic one, in that in all of the discussions that we've been seeing leading up to this, we hadn't seen so much of a united front. Some of the statements were pulling in different directions, but it was good to see an outing where all came together and were able to at least reach a degree of consensus on a number of things as we await for further developments. So again, this had followed the point that Rufai had made, which is that there was some assumptions that people